Welcome to the Too Busy to Eat show. I'm Greg Zuffelato, the host of this show. Today, we have a very special guest, Melissa Rifkin. Melissa is, I don't even know where to start because she does so many different things. Well, first, she's a registered dietitian. She's worked with, clinically, she's worked with oncology patients and now bariatric patients. She has her master's degree from New York University, undergrad in nutrition from University of Connecticut. Great credentials, but not only, she is a dietitian, but now she has an amazing platform on Instagram, Confession of a Dietitian on Instagram. And the impact she has on people there is amazing. She has over 150,000 people in her community, which is fantastic. She's worked for an app called Rise. She started her own private practice as a dietitian. I don't know how she accomplishes what she accomplishes. One trick, she gets up at 4:30 and she'll tell you about that. So I'm excited for you to learn and listen to Melissa's story on how she does all the things that she's able to do during a week. So here we go. Well, welcome, Melissa. I am really excited to have you on the Too Busy to Eat show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here too.
And, I know you are one of the busiest people on the planet. So this means a lot to me that you are with us now. So thanks for taking the time. I know it means a lot when people come on, but I know with your schedule, it really means a lot. So thank you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Yeah. So we chatted a little bit about that. Like you are extremely busy and extremely spread thin. Like you're going to be getting up in a few hours to run many miles. And, why don't you give us a little insight on your journey, kind of what took you to where you are today?
As a child, actually, my father would have a nutritionist come into our house. Wow. And I was always fascinated by this. And she would bring over hummuses and all these kinds of healthy things. So I was always really into her. Yeah. And I sort of faded out with that interest. And when I went to college, I started in psychology.
Okay.
And I didn't really feel a connection. Mm-hmm. And I was always very intimidated by the nutrition courses. There was a lot of sciences. Mm-hmm. But a girlfriend of mine was going through nutrition and she was doing well. And I said, listen, if she could do it, I could do it. And so I quickly left psychology and I went into nutrition. And I graduated from the University of Connecticut
yes.
A long time ago. And I did my internship at New York Presbyterian Hospital in Manhattan. And soon after that, I decided I was going to stay in New York, and I got a job, and I started out in oncology and surgery.
Okay.
So I did that for about 7 years. And while I was working, I got my master's at NYU.
Right. Okay. Yes. Okay. Those are some good, good credentials and not easy while you're doing that and getting,
That was tough. And fitting in exercise and life. So after that, while I was still working in oncology and surgery, I got certified as a specialist in oncology.
Okay.
And then soon after I left doing oncology and surgery, and I went to bariatrics.
Okay.
Which is weight loss surgery.
Yes.
Where I'm currently at Montefiore Medical Center.
Okay.
It's an outpatient position that I have where we coach our patients before and after surgery to prepare them for surgery.
Right.
And it's extremely rewarding.
That's some life change. That's some dramatic changes. Yes.
Emotionally, physically, all of the above.
Right.
So that wasn't enough for me. I needed more.
Right.
About 3 or 4 years ago, I joined an app called Rise Nutrition. Mm-hmm. And I was one of, I would say, the founding dietitians, and I helped create and improve the app itself.
Okay. Yeah.
And I still work for the company. I love them. It's a great app. It's in the palm of your hand. I call it a dietitian in the palm of your hand.
Yes. Okay.
So you upload pictures and I comment.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's nice for the type of client who doesn't have a lot of time to sit in an office or hop on a call. It's just like a quick, a coach basically.
Right. Yeah.
then I decided that I wanted to start my own practice, which
Why
I
not? With all your extra
yeah,
time.
throw another curveball in there. So then I'm doing that right now, which is kind of intertwined with my Instagram account. So
Okay.
Confession of a Dietitian started in 2012,
Okay.
and I had no real goals
Yeah.
in the sense that I didn't know what I was doing. It was just
Right.
posting.
You're just going to do it. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Like, let me post and see, what happens. And then slowly throughout the years, I've kind of curated this platform where
Yes.
I do meal planning
Yes. Yes.
and highlight healthy foods
Yeah.
where
You,
you've been featured.
yes, right. You have your posts are amazing, and your
Yeah.
audience. I mean, you have a massive, massive audience. Not just like people have big audiences, but you have an engaged audience. Like you have a community that responds, that comments, that talks, that interacts. It's very impressive. So
Thank you.
that took work. I mean, that doesn't have. I mean, you can have a growth in Instagram, but not have that type of engagement. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I like to call it my baby. I mean, I really have always been so passionate about Instagram,
Yeah.
and I was always fascinated about how people were doing better than me in the sense like they had more followers. What was their
What they're doing?
tricks?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and so I was always so fascinated by this, and then finally, all of a sudden, something took off. Like I had an idea, and it took
Right.
off, and then I've just been running with it.
Wow. Wow.
And,
What was the
yeah.
turning? Well, I mean, there's a lot of turning points. You've done a lot of things, but in Instagram, what kind of got you over that hump and got you really
Yeah.
rolling?
It's actually it's a little funny. I upgraded my phone.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Yeah. So higher quality
so
images.
higher quality
Yeah.
images. I changed to a white background
Okay.
only.
Yeah.
I have an IKEA table that sits in our kitchen that's very unattractive, but it has to stay there because it's part of the business.
Yeah.
And organization was a big one for me.
Right. Right.
Aesthetics, like people want to see beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not just a picture. If it's not good enough, it shouldn't go up. And so I sort of learned that through the way.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of engagement involved.
Yeah.
It's a part-time job, sitting there
Yes.
communicating with people, like you said. I mean, I wish I could be a little bit better at it, to be quite honest, but I frankly don't have the time.
Right. Well, how do you even manage that? I mean, how do you make time for that community in the midst of all, I mean, you have your private practice, you have your, I guess, day job. I mean, there's a lot of jobs you have, but
my 9-to-5 job.
9 to 5 job. How do you manage time?
I've always been a very structured individual.
Yeah.
I've been impeccable with my time in the sense that I can organize and get a lot accomplished. I'm great at multitasking.
Yes. Yes.
So one of the biggest things I preach is adequate sleep.
Okay.
And I am a proponent for at least 8 to 9 hours I need. I can't function without 8 to 9 hours. I'm just not my hyper self and feel like I can take on the world. So that is something it's non-negotiable.
Right.
So
Right.
in bed early, up early.
Yes.
And every morning I commit myself to the gym for about an hour and a half.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's extensive. That's a commitment. That's a long, because you mentioned you get up really early, and if you're getting 8 or 9 hours, you're you're going to bed pretty close to when you get home. Probably there's not a lot of gap.
Yeah, there's not a lot of downtime, which is why I'll talk to you a little bit about meal prep, which is something I'm very fond of.
Yes.
So sleep is really important. Gym, I leave the gym at a set time. I get to work at a set time. And to be totally honest with you, there's a lot of email answering and Instagram communication done literally in transit, like
right
walking. I can talk to at least 5 people and email 5 more people, and it's every moment counts, I guess I would say, and there isn't a lot of downtime.
Right. So you maximize, like, every waking moment. You're maximizing if you're moving from place to place, traveling, if you're or walking, you're doing something, not just you don't waste any time. And that's how you accomplish so much more.
No.
Right.
Yeah. And it's a catch-22, right? Because then there's no it's a lot of not being in the moment.
Right. Yes.
Which is one thing I don't, encourage. I think there is a balance. Yeah. So there will be days where I'll just say, you know what, you're on the elliptical tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, I'm on the elliptical.
Yeah.
That's an hour I can talk to people.
Right.
I can respond to people. I can do this. I can do that. Those are dedicated moments for that.
Right. So you use that time, but then there's time. Do you use some of that workout time as just your time, like get away, nothing?
Yes. Yeah. Which I think, is really healthy. I think it's important to disconnect. I think being completely connected to social media is extremely unhealthy.
Right.
And there needs to be a time where you shut off.
Yes.
For dinner, my fiance and I, we don't go on our cell phones. I will literally have to flip over my phone at times just to say, okay, enough. Because I'm so addicted.
Right. And that's part of you're very disciplined, but I guess that's part of the discipline. You have to discipline yourself to work and to not work. You have to set those boundaries.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
That's so you're coping with the number of hours and the pressures you have. One, you already mentioned it. One of your key things is sleep. I mean, you have to be charged up because your days are full. So what else helps you cope with the stresses of the demands on your time?
The exercise is not just for, cardiac health. It's for my mental well-being too. Yeah. And running is everything to me.
You love, yeah.
I know some people love it, hate it. And I'm also a very big proponent for finding an exercise that you love.
Yes. Yeah.
If you're not doing something you love, you should really stop and go find something that you do love.
Right. Because it won't be sustainable if you don't love it. Right.
No. And it's a bore, so I love to do things I love. Running is great. It's endorphins. It's everything I need, which really chills me out.
Right. And you've run at least two marathons, right?
I've run 2 marathons. Yeah. I've done a few halves. I try to run about 21 miles a week.
That's a lot of running.
It is a lot of running. It's a lot of shoes I go through.
Yes. So what do you do? Because you're in New York City, right? So
in Westchester.
Westchester. Okay.
I was in New York for
you
11 years.
Okay. Westchester. Yeah. So now, what do you do? I mean, it's cold in the winter. What do you do you stay in the gym and do it, or you run outside?
Even though I'm from New Hampshire, I really don't like running outside. I try to trick myself and say this year it's going to be your year.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy it as much. Yeah. I actually am the complete opposite. I like to run in extremely high temperatures.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a second house in Florida, and if it's 90 degrees, I'm like, great running day. Let's go.
Yeah. And humid. Again, Florida's humid. Yeah.
I'm actually, I'm a certified spinning instructor.
Yes.
So I did that in college. I don't do that now. I actually don't spin anymore, believe it or not.
You've done enough spinning, right? You
did enough. Yeah. It's just, again, with the thing, finding things that you love,
right.
Not so, my love for spinning is not really there anymore. I do a lot of yoga.
Right.
That actually helps me chill out and stretch.
Yeah. I was about to say, that's another time where you have to be disconnected, and that is really a focus on your body, being present. Yeah. That's
so good. Some Sundays I'm like, I can't go. I have so much to do. And then I'm like, no, you have to go. You have to go. Yeah. So that's I have to be there, which, I always walk away and I'm so grateful that I force myself to go.
To do it. Now, going back to some of your, in your journey, you work with some tough places where, like oncology, bariatrics. How has that been? How do you deal with that? Because that's especially oncology, that's traumatic.
Yeah. I actually went into oncology because my mother had breast cancer.
Oh yeah.
And so it's sort of, I wanted to give
That's,
back to the
yes.
community.
Right. Right.
It was draining,
Yeah.
which is frankly why I left.
Right.
I couldn't emotionally deal with it anymore.
Yeah.
It was just too much. But again, it's great to be there for people
Yes.
who need me.
Yeah.
And the current position I'm in, it's extremely rewarding in the sense, like, I'm giving people tools that they can utilize for the rest of their lives, so
Right.
they can,
Right.
get rid of their diabetes. They can walk again. It's just, it's remarkable.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's draining too.
Yeah.
When you give your all, and I think with most careers, we give our all,
Yes.
and in any position, it can be
Yeah.
draining.
Yeah. Well, and you demonstrated in multiple platforms that you're giving it your all. You do a lot of things. You do a lot of things well. And it's part of your discipline and your commitment to doing things right. And you have to be, in all those things, you have to be productive. So where do you find, when are you what makes you the most productive? What do you have a time you're productive or a place you're more productive?
I Let me think. I'm really productive after my coffee in the morning.
Yes.
And a good night's sleep.
Yes.
I'm a morning person.
Yes. Well, you get up at 4:30. You got to be a morning person. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I am awesome in the morning.
Yeah.
Come 4:00, I'm winding down.
Right. Right.
But healthy eating keeps me productive.
Yeah. Right.
Like, in the sense, like, I need to feel like I'm nourished, that I slept well, that things are organized in my life.
Right. Right.
So that,
yeah.
Was there any, am I going the wrong way?
No, that's exactly what I was looking for. So when you're most productive is early morning. When you're fueled up, a little caffeine doesn't hurt. That's when you get. And I think that's a common thing. Not everybody. There's some people are night owls, and they from 9 to 1 and 9 o'clock at 9 to 1 in the morning, they're flying. And somebody I'm a morning person too. So people like us, we're like, no, we're not going to do anything that causes any brain power at night. Hopefully you're sleeping. Yeah. And you also answered another one of my questions was about nutrition, and that's a key for you in productivity. And I'm sure you've seen that in your practice, but personally, I'm sure that's, like you mentioned, it's important to you to have that proper nutrition.
Yeah, I find it that without, setting yourself up, the meal planning,
yes,
that I simply fall apart.
Right. Right.
So, and I coach this to all my clients and patients that, it might mean that you're shopping at 3 different grocery stores. Right. And then, you go to church every Sunday, you carve out a window of time every Sunday, and you cook and prepare and get yourself established so you can have a solid week.
Yes.
It's a lot of commitment on the weekends, where the truth is, there's weekends where I would rather go out and go hiking or lay by the pool or whatnot. But if I don't do this meal prep, how am I going to get home after a long day of work? I'm not going to cook.
Right. It sets your week up if you don't do it. So what is that? What is a Sunday? For you, it's Sunday. You do a lot of your prep. What does that look like?
Sunday. Well, I shop on the weekends.
Okay.
Like a Friday afternoon, I'll grocery shop.
Okay.
Saturday, I'll get some things if I forgot, or go to a farmer's market.
Yeah. Get some fresh stuff. Yeah.
Yep. Sunday, it's pulling up all the recipes that we wanted to make for the week.
Okay.
And it's really a team effort with my fiance and I. It could be 3 hours. It could be 5 hours.
Yeah.
If we're getting fancy. We try to keep it under 2 to 3 hours if it's a good week.
So what's that prep? That prep is like chopping vegetables, preparing things. What does that entail?
Yeah, so it's cleaning vegetables and proteins and whatnot. It's chopping them, and cooking. It's the
Oh,
full cook.
oh, you get everything cooked and done.
Oh yeah. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
We're ready. Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
It's great in the
amazing.
microwave.
Oh, that is fantastic.
Otherwise, we work like, if we're both very early morning people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I walk in the door at 6 o'clock, I'm like, dinner, bed,
That's it.
let's go. So the most simple thing to do is to plate, microwave. I'm
Yeah.
good.
That's
Um,
amazing. So you do, so that, and that can, so what you do, what's amazing is that time, okay, so time is limited for you, but if you spend 2 or 3 hours on Sunday, you don't just save 2 or 3 hours in a week. That's probably saving 6 or more hours because
Absolutely.
you're doing it all together. You're really maximizing time.
Yeah. And one thing I really do love about the fact that we meal prep ahead of time, not only does it save time, calories, and money, but there's, and I think this speaks to a lot of people where you get home from a long day. Maybe you have kids or not bugging, like mom, homework, this and that. But you're hungry usually,
Yes.
or it's like an emotional release. Like I made it through the day. Now I want to eat something, which is a whole nother, you know,
Yes.
bag of
Yes.
worms, but whatever.
Yeah.
And you're cooking and you're eating
Right. Right.
because you're hungry.
Yes.
And so maybe while you're cooking and eating, you ate half the meal.
Yeah. Yes.
And then you sit down because you feel like I just labored over this food. Like
I have
I
to
should
eat
sit
it.
down and
Yeah.
eat.
Yeah.
And you end up overeating.
Yes. Or I fall into this. I'll grab something that's not, that's not it's gonna not be as good as what I'm gonna eat. And it kind of ruins my dinner or the meal I'm preparing.
Appetite. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah.
And so
It's
that does a
not
lot.
always the most delicious. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Sometimes vegetables get a little soggy.
Yeah.
It's not perfect. It
Right.
works.
Right. Yeah, I've said this over and over, and I try to I tell my kids get tired of me saying this, but I always say food is fuel. You got to look at it as fuel. Like you are a machine that can operate a high efficiency. If your fuel is good, it may not. The fuel may look a little different sometimes, but you got to put the right fuel in your body.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Yeah.
That's great. So
and,
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say on that food prep and how do you keep that kind of fresh and new, or do you have? I mean, I'm sure you have you have so many recipes. Is that something you just keep kind of rotate through, or do you have a pattern with them?
That's a good question. It depends actually how much time we can carve out on a Sunday.
Yeah.
If we have ample time, we might get more creative, and I'll look up new recipes on Pinterest.
Okay. Yeah.
But if we're stuck on time, it's the basics. It's our favorites, and it's like quick and it's easy and done.
Yeah.
But there is something to be said about variety, and I do encourage that. We'll switch up our fish every week. Maybe we'll do a salmon, a cod, things like that.
Yeah.
The vegetables, seasonal too.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. You want to get that's a good seasonal fresh if you can get it. I mean, that's fantastic.
The garden, whatever the garden yields,
Yeah, it's that's the best if we can do that. It's great. You mentioned farmers markets. Those are great. Those are great.
Yeah, we love them. Yeah. And my fiance's parents have a giant Italian garden.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah, those fresh vegetables, you can't beat fresh vegetables when
I know.
I mean, they're health wise, but they taste so much different than store bought.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So farmers markets are great. If you can get to those, I mean, they're really taken over today. 10 years ago, not so much, but today, you can find them around, and it's great.
Yes. We are lucky. I live in Santa Barbara, California, and I've found there's one every day somewhere within like a 15-minute drive. Yeah. They have them all over.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And there's some are really good and some are really small, but there's something to get. Yeah. But most places will have some type of farmer's market you can take advantage of. or a local farm. My parents live out near you. They live out in the New England area in Rhode Island, and they go.
Mhm.
There's local farms they'll go and get some produce from, and it's freshly picked. It's great.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
it's a great experience too
Yes,
to go,
yes,
and it's enjoyable,
yes, yeah. So you have really multiple businesses, a job. I mean, you do a lot of things. What are some of your routines that that help you accomplish all that you do?
Uh, well, certainly the meal prep on Sundays
Okay, right,
is a set task, if
right.
you will. What I do is I structure my workouts. I'm not very flexible with the days that I run and the days that I don't. Like, I know what days I'm running.
Yes, you schedule that out beforehand. Yeah.
Yeah. So for right now, I run Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays.
Okay.
So I like that because I can mentally prepare myself
Yes. Yeah.
rather than get to the gym and say, what should I do today?
Right.
Like, I like to get myself kind of psyched up.
Yeah.
And then the other days I do other things.
Okay.
Sunday, like I said, is yoga.
Yeah.
And then if there's work commitments, I put it all on my calendar, my phone.
Yeah.
I put alarms, alerts, you name it. I have to stay organized.
Yes.
You can't function at my capacity without organization.
Right. You'd fall apart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I happen to be like, in some ways, I've always been very much on top of what I need to do.
Right.
So what does that mean? How can I provide recommendations for somebody who needs more organization and time management?
Yeah.
It's, I think the best thing to do is to start with a checklist.
Okay.
And then a timeline, and then prioritize.
Okay. Yeah. Right. And what's the most important
Yeah. And I think a lot of people put exercise and food as one of their least priorities, which always amazes me. So, that's something that's my first priority, right? So I start out my day with a workout, it's done. Right. If I have evening plans, great. Now I can do them.
Right. But you have your workout done. Yeah.
But the workout's done.
Yeah.
And so for people who can't work out in the morning, and I respect that, you pack your gym clothes and you bring it to work and you change at work. So you don't come home, change.
Yeah.
Not that interested anymore in the gym. I'm just going to hang out at home. And then it becomes a routine.
Right. That's your routine. And then you have a strict routine. Is your wake up the same every day? Or does it depend on what you're doing that day?
No, it's a 4:30 wake up.
You're a 4:30, yeah.
And it used to be a little bit later, but I felt stressed out in the morning to hurry up, get to the gym, do this. So I like a little, even though it pushes me to go to bed a little bit earlier, I don't feel stressed when I wake up.
Right. Because you have more time in the morning. That gives you a little bit of that cushion. Yeah, that makes a big difference. I mean. It's early, but that's how you get things done. I have the same. Mine's a little later. I do between 4:40 and 5, but
It's really early.
It's like those 2 hours before my kids are up, before oh my gosh, the amount you accomplish is it's more than the rest of the day, almost, with the distractions and the demands of that come in. Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's in some ways it's very peaceful.
Yes.
So I come downstairs, I sip on my coffee, I hear the crickets. It's like calm before the storm.
Yes. And that is a good, mentally that's very, I find that when I get up, even though I start doing things pretty early, it still is a time you are disconnected because everybody's sleeping. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That is a funny point because sometimes I'm like, I need to text this person. I need them to wake up. I need to find out. And I'm like, No one's up this early.
No.
Wake up.
That is hilarious. I was doing that this morning because there was somebody that texted me last night. I'm just in bed, but I'm like, it's 5 a.m. I'm ready to text. I'm like, oh, that's probably not a good idea. I got to wait for a little while.
Yeah.
What would you, so, I mean, you've dealt with so many people with health issues and you've seen all of all across the gamut of health, but what would you give that one piece of advice to somebody they're super busy, but they want, and they're really trying to, they're on the track like you are, trying to accomplish more and more. What would you give them? So the busy person that wants to be healthy, what piece of advice would you give them?
Okay. Well, busy person wants to be healthy. The prioritization is really key. And you can't change yourself overnight.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So I would take on one new challenge at a time.
Okay.
So look, you want to start running, you don't go and run a marathon tomorrow. You start out with 2 miles and you increase, and it's a slow, it's not a race really.
Right,
and no pun intended, it's a marathon, right? So
that's right.
Whatever you want to accomplish, I would say take on baby steps. I mean, I didn't get to where I am today overnight.
Right.
So this took 11 years to curate.
Right.
It's the funniest thing. I remember in my internship for nutrition, I was going in my internship and I remember thinking to myself, how am I going to have time to get my mail? Like, I was so stressed out in the internship, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to get my mail. And it's so funny to think of how much I have on my plate today. I think without over really manifesting about what you have to do, is just do it.
Yeah. And like you said, it's not all at once. You just got to keep at it. Make those, like you said, take one thing on a time, make your priorities. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know you have such a great platform, and you're helping so many people. I know people would want to connect with you. What's the best place for people to connect with you?
They can email me at melissarifkinnutrition@gmail.
Okay.
Or I'm actually very responsive on Instagram.
Yes, you are.
So even if you message me on Instagram, I try to respond to everyone.
Okay. And that's when you give them
Confession of a Dietitian.
Yes.
No S though.
Yes. Well, we'll have that in the show notes. So it'll be a clickable link, and they'll just be able to go right to you.
Okay,
I encourage everybody to check out your Instagram. It's fantastic. Like I said,
thanks.
So engaging. It's such a great community and great information. Yeah.
I try. Yeah. You know what? I believe we could all be healthier in some capacity. Yeah. And if I could be that role model, I'd be delighted.
Well, you're doing a lot of great things in a lot of different areas. So I mean, it's fantastic. I really applaud all that you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. It's hard work, but it's a joy. So It doesn't really feel like work.
Well, you're changing people's lives. That's a good thing to be pouring your time into.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, I know you're very busy. I know it's past your bedtime. So I thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show. I wish you the best. Awesome. And thank you again for coming on the show.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm excited.
All right. Have a great night.
You too. Thank you so much.